I just wanted to ask, what is the state of play in the food fortification sector, and what are you picking up here in Arusha in terms of health impacts, in terms of nutrition impacts?
Well, I think there's a number of points. First of all, it's incredibly important. It really is a challenge. We still have 2 billion people who are malnourished in one way or another. So it's a huge problem. We also have had a dramatic improvement in many areas. We actually have had a lot of policies that work, and that's important to emphasize, because I think people are very sick and tired of the whole time hearing, here's a problem, here's a problem, here's a problem, actually realizing a lot of things work, a lot of things succeed. And then I think the crucial bit that I'm picking up, and that's not surprising where I come from, is that people are also asking, if you go to a conference with lots of nutrition people, it's not surprising they all think it's really important. But how do we get the rest of the world to think nutrition is really important? And that's the question about how do we engage everyone else who only marginally interested in nutrition to realize that this is a phenomenal way to help the world. And I think that's where what we try to do with the Copenhagen Consensus, we bring together economists from around the different areas of the world, so from biodiversity to chronic diseases to civil war to nutrition, and ask them, what can you do? How much will it cost, and how much good will it do? So you get a measure of, for every dollar spent, how much good will it do? And that's the crucial bit, where we actually found, this is not something I didn't even know that was going to happen. Turns out that nutrition is one of the best investments in the world. And that's the way that we convince everyone else. So when we talk to people who are not particularly interested in nutrition, that's how we convince them.
And so the role of public-private partnerships here, how can they help meet the health and the social goals that you've talked about? And where are we in terms of them reaching their potential?
Well, I think we need to recognize that the private businesses are crucial to get involved, but I think there's a lot of hype and there's a lot of expectation that is going to be tremendously dashed in the future. Everybody talks about how the private sector is going to contribute these billions to all these great things, not just nutrition, that we want to see happen. Of course they're not going to do that. They're in the business of mostly making money. And so while it's important to get them on board, the real challenge is to realize we have to mostly spend public money on fixing public problems.
And so you're not of the opinion then that market forces, that consumer demands will actually create a broader shift on how companies do business in this area?
Well, look, some places you can actually be fortunate that you can get people to realize, oh wait, getting iodine in my salt will actually make my kids better off, so I'm willing to pay more for it. We know that, for instance, from organic foods. We've actually been very successful in selling a product that on all sort of objective parameters have no difference, but selling it at a higher price. So clearly you can do this for consumers. I just think you shouldn't have the expectation that this is possible in general. Most of this is going to be very hard work if you want to do it by convincing consumers. But look, we have plenty of policies that we just simply enact and say, well, I'm sorry, that's how you have to do it. You force people to buy an auto insurance. It's not like they think that's a great idea, but you force them to do it. You force kids in school. You also force people to pay over their taxes for school. There's lots of stuff that we do because it's socially beneficial. And I think we need to recognize that's probably also how we're going to do most of nutrition, by saying this is a great investment publicly. That's why we're going to mandate this and get this through. I love it when you can get the private sector to play along, when you can make it a good investment. But realistically, if you think about it, when you're competing with all the other guys who are going to say the paleo diet is the great new thing, or the Atkins, and I don't know, there's all these kinds of things, they're much, much more likely to get the attention than the guys who say you should have iodine in your salt. It's just not very sexy. In that sense, it's not the one that's going to win. You don't have the great puppy to make this argument. So I think we should stick with good arguments instead.